in a second. Let's go to Christian, who is a digital visual artist. Christian, welcome to the programme.
Hi, Iain.
What would you like to tell us? Hi.
I started my business during lockdown, during the first UK lockdown last year, and for me it was really like almost like a baptism of fire, because I was working as a digital media lecturer at university. I had a good job and I was teaching students, and I had a nice flat in South London, and everything was great. And then suddenly COVID hit, and it was that moment where you really had to think. I had to really think about what on earth I wanted to do. What was going on, and the fact that I was made redundant from my university is really interesting, because as a contractor, you don't get like any additional pay because your contract finishes and that's it. There is no redundancy. There's nothing that you can do. So you just have to find something to do. So I decided to start an art business and doing digital art and selling that online. And when I first started, it was really tough, because as I've always worked for a business or worked for somebody, the idea of saying I had to do everything myself was that moment where I realised, oh, right, I've got to do everything. I've got to create the art, I've got to do the website, I've got to do the marketing, I've got to do the sales. So, that was really difficult at first. But now, a year and a half, a year later or 10 months later, I guess now my business has really taken off from last summer. And it's been absolutely, great for me in terms of as a business. I've done really well.
Well, it's great to hear that you clearly have absolutely no regrets at all. What were the main challenges that you faced?
The first challenge is because I was doing art. I did loads and loads of research about the art market, how you sell art online, where do you go, the psychology of people, not just me creating it, but displaying it and purchasing art. And that's really tough, because it's a tough market to get into. And when I was reading books, they kept saying things like, go and talk to some art dealers, visit some art fairs, go to the art galleries, go to network events. None of those things existed, because everything has been in lockdown for pretty much since last March. So I went and did it myself. I built my own website, launched my collections online, promoted myself on social media, worked with printers in London to get my stuff printed, and just really getting to grips of how I'm going to sell this online and do it by myself. So I remember just building my website and putting the stuff up and thinking to myself, is anybody going to buy this? Is this actually going to work? And I remember, I'll never forget my first sale, which was on the 6th of May. Like, a stranger bought 2 artworks of my website, and I was so happy. I was so ecstatic and relieved that it was actually working. It made sense. And I think it's because of COVID, it gave me that time to really think about what I wanted to do. But at the same time, there's a lot of people sitting at home looking at their 4 walls and thinking, I'm going to buy some art, I'm going to change up my house, I'm going to invest in something that I would normally invest, because they've got that money that they would normally be spending on other things, on other entertainment, going out for fancy meals, buying concert tickets and all those things. They're not doing that at the moment. So I've been planning for the last year to really make sure that my business is future-proof. So now that I've getting really good sales month in, month out, I've signed deals with Wayfair, for example. I've got an international deal with them. I'm selling on their website as well as in Germany and in the UK. I'm on Amazon Handmade, which is a great thing, because everybody's spending money on Amazon right now. I mean, that's where a lot of the online purchases are going through. And I did a course last year, funnily enough, with Enterprise Nation, where I really learnt the skills of how to sell on Amazon and use that as an extra sales channel, because my own website is just because I build it doesn't mean I'm going to sell everything through my own website. You've got to use additional sales channels online to make it work for yourself. It's not a Field of Dreams moment where if I build it, they're all going to come flocking and buy my stuff. I've really got to put myself out there across social media and make sure that people are really committed in terms of coming to my website, seeing what I do, telling my story on social media and really pushing it that way. So it's really, it's going really well.
I've been looking through your website while we've been talking, and it's brilliantly designed. It's very simple in terms of navigation. You display all the art really well, and I particularly like the ones where you actually show a print or a painting actually on the wall, and that actually makes you really want to buy it. And it's not. I mean, often when people think, oh, well, it's sort of art, it's going to be really expensive, it's going to be beyond my price range. It actually isn't, is it? I mean, it's very reasonable prices.
And that's it, because I've made sure, my pricing is art that's affordable. You know, I'm working out how much it's costing me to print it, the time that it takes me to make it, where my printers are based, the quality of materials, the paper that I'm using, whether it's sustainable. You know, I'm looking at all those things to make sure that it's a good product, that it's affordable for everybody. And, you know, at the moment, I've got a sale on there because I realise everyone's in lockdown again, you know, and you think, you know, it'd be nice to treat yourself to something nice that might go in your home, because you're spending so much time in your home. It makes sense to do that. And I'm in the process of, you know, for me, it's about building for the future and trying to make my business sustainable, not just this year, but next year, because next year everyone's going to be going want to go out and do all those things. So I'm trying to get onto additional international channels and being on Amazon and being on Wayfair and, you know, being on Saatchi Art, all those places where I've got extra customers, extra, you know, revenue coming in through all those sales channels. And that's how I'm hoping to invest into the future, to make sure that, you know, I'm creating new collections, and I'm going to maybe do an original art series. I'm looking into studios because they're so cheap right now in terms of trying to get an art studio compared to what I looked, you know, a year ago. Because a lot of, like Emma mentioned before, a lot of people, there's a downturn, you know, the space clears up and new people come in, you know, and I'm so grateful. And I have to mention this because I think it's really important. There's so many businesses out there struggling. I'm really grateful that mine's going really well and I'm making good money and I'm investing everything back into my business.
Well, I'm going to give out your website address. Maybe you might get a few orders from our listeners, because I think what you've got on there is fantastic. I might even order something myself. It's Christian Azolan, AZOLAN.co.uk. So thank you so much for telling us about your experiences, Christian, and we'll come to more of your calls in just a second. It's 9:48.
Coming